Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today here with me is Andrei Popov. Andrei is managing partner at Digital Space Ventures. This is a venture fund, and thank you, Andrei, for coming here today and taking your time to share your story and your experience. I appreciated it a lot. So let's start talking about your digital venture space fund, and let's see where it goes.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. Right, it's a pleasure, and I hope it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Digital space. So digital space is a venture fund indeed. We are mostly investing into financial technology projects, artificial intelligence and machine learning projects, and into adjacent spaces like cybersecurity, operational efficiencies, and for sure also into the digital assets like the stablecoins and the platforms that actually allow to build the future of finances. So that's in a nutshell about us.
Yeah, so right now you have around 9-10 companies in your portfolio, right?
Yeah, we have about a dozen, yeah.
So, like how many deals do you do like in a year?
Well, it very much depends because typically a venture fund has sort of phases in the development, right? You first attract the funds of your LPs, then you do what is called as deployment.
For LPs, sorry?
LP is a limited partner. So the way that the venture fund is usually built is that it's got investors or limited partners.
Yeah.
They have a say in terms of what they generally want the fund to do, but they don't usually have a say in day-to-day management of the fund. And then, in addition to the LPs, there are general partners who are actually executing the management of the fund and the execution of the fund strategy. So initially, LPs are doing the contributions into the fund to actually create the pool of money that is going to get deployed over a period of time into a number of projects. And then, if a fund is a closed-ended, so that it has maybe 7, 10, 12 years usually for the life of a fund.
So like one cycle it's like 7 to 10 years?
Cycles may differ. Usually a fund would spend some time to attract the capital, maybe a year, maybe two. Then it will use maybe the next 2 or 3 years to deploy the capital.
Yeah.
And then through the remaining years of the fund, it will manage the portfolio companies, helping them to achieve the goals that they have set to themselves, and then ultimately exiting the projects or participating in the IPOs or any other way of actually then getting money back for the investors and paying them the multiples of their initial investment. Now, the fund may also be an open-ended, in which case it doesn't have to return the money to the investors at a certain period in future, but can do it throughout the life. So it can still attract more investment, pay back some of the LPs, etc. So that's what I'm saying, that it depends on what phase of the fund that we're talking about. So if you are in the deployment, that you would have many projects. If you are more in the maintenance side, that you typically have very few. So we are more towards the maintenance state. So we are not doing too many investments in a year. Although this year we've done 3 so far. So I will probably close one more before the end of the year.
That sounds really exciting.
It's a fun stuff to do.
And which model are you running through, like the certain fixed cycle, or are you like an open-ended fund that can attract more capital throughout the work?
We are an open-ended fund.
I see. So So at this stage, you more focus on the maintenance of the existing companies that you have right now, right?
We are, but we also are looking into, let me put it this way, starting a new cycle, because we're looking for potentially attracting some fresh investment into the fund. And we are building up a portfolio of potential new projects. Like the projects that we've invested into this year, most of them are relatively early stage. We consider them
relatively early stages. It's like seed.
Yes, 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 yes. But they're also quite rapidly progressing. So like there is a project that we've taken a stake in technically in pre-seed stage. They're already done a seed and they're aiming for the Series A.
Oh, I
maybe
see.
Next year.
So let me just clarify. So seed round, this is the round when the company has their own MVP, but they may not have revenue yet, right?
Yes, typically yes.
And Series A means when they already have some model and they have proof of concept and they wanted to scale, right?
Yeah, typically by Series A you already have some clients who are paying, right? So it's not just that you have a minimum viable product that you're trying to deploy and then to discover is it really delivering the value for anybody. By Series A or by late seed, it depends. As a startup project, you're aiming to actually achieve a state where you can say, yes, I know who my customers are. They're willing to pay for what I've built. So I can start actually showing some sort of monthly recurring or annual recurring revenue streams. And based on that, I can do a certain projection into the future. And that's why I need to scale, and that's why I need the funds.
I see. So this year you already invested into 3 companies, right? And what were like the features that you looked for in a company that were green flags for you that meant that that company is probably going to succeed and you want to invest in these companies?
Well, we were looking for, first and foremost, we were looking for the things that are matching the view of what we believe is important in the area that we operate, and that is we are very much interested in the effectively a cross section of financial technology with the digital assets and with artificial intelligence, because we believe that's going to reshape banking and all of the financial services industry in the next 5 to 10 years. So the projects that we were looking into are the ones that are building parts of the infrastructure and the platform for that. So we're not looking for things that are necessarily purely external features for end customers, but they are the elements that are building the future platform, right? So something that will be part of the infrastructure of the future financial services industry. So that is sort of like the first sieve that we use to understand, do we want to look at the project or do we not?
Can you give some example of existing platforms so like we may have some sense of what it may look like?
Yeah, I mean the easiest would be I don't know, Visa and MasterCard. Yeah, it's these are the payment rails that are allowing us anywhere in the world to pay for the goods and services and whatnot, right? So or any other elements of like really payment infrastructure, building blocks like be it SWIFT, be it any sort of local payment systems. These are the things that are actually establishing then the call it the foundational layer for the industry, as opposed to maybe things like end client banking application that allows you to look at your spend in a sexy way. Yeah, this is good. This has the demand.
You mean just some basic analytics on what a person spends their money?
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, it may be a very attractive proposition and that type of the project may have a nice future, but these are not sort of the building elements. So that's not what we were looking for. So the first thing was to look for the ones that are actually building part of the future infrastructure. And the second thing, we obviously look at the founders, right? Because for a startup project at that early stage of the development, that is right around the pre-seed seed stage, it's to a significant degree it's a bet, right? It's not, nothing is a given. They may or may not really succeed. They are, building lots of hypotheses about what's going to work and what's not going to work. And at that point of time, it is very important to look who the founders are, right? What is their track record, what they've done before, why do they believe in what they're building, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then the third one, obviously, because we're looking at the future infrastructure elements, we want to understand what part of that infrastructure they want to address, because that kind of describes the market in which they're going to operate, and we need to understand, is it going to scale significantly, because that would then drive their revenue streams, their customer acquisition, and the success of our investment. So that would probably be this, the leading three that we are looking at. And then everything else is sort of secondary, because you obviously look at your financial models, your whatever pitch decks, your partnerships that you're trying to establish and whatnot. But without the first three, I think it's, you may have a great pitch deck, but if you don't have good founders, it's not gonna fly.
Yeah, I see. So you say that you're looking for companies that trying to build some foundational platforms. So, but at this point, we already have some platforms. So, what is really missing in the existing platforms that need to evolve in the new products?
That's a great question, because indeed, I think that it's like with, when in 2008 iPhone was announced, and a lot of the people were saying that there's nothing new, like everything was available, right? Yes, none of the building blocks.
What do you mean there is
because everything that iPhone encompassed at that moment, the elements, the components, they were all known. The capacitive screens were known, but were known also for not being very good ones, right? The mobile phone was already there. A smartphone as a concept was already there. So lots of the elements were there. The problem was that nobody has ever tried to put it into a single package and execute that package with quality and with persistence and with the set of features and the combination of them, how the original iPhone was done. So I think if we look at that problem space that we operate in, most of the elements are there, but there is a question about how they are integrated or how easy or difficult they are to use. Let's take, for instance, the classical financial services industry. It has gone through a lot of the innovation and a lot of the changes over the last 10, 15 years, right? From you have to go into the banking branch to do anything, to basically you don't have to visit the banking branches almost at all, right? And
you can do everything from your phone.
Exactly. And a lot of people are actually selecting the bank not on the basis whether there is a branch nearby or not, but rather on may it be possible for me never to visit the branch. So, and this is a very critical thing for the banking industry as a whole. But this is more sort of like the front-facing side, right? The consumer-facing side. If you go into more of the business banking, things are not as developed still. And if you go further back into sort of what the infrastructure looks like from the inside, right? The international payments, cross-border transfers and whatnot, it is still very much the same as it was 15, 20 years ago. It has moved, it has changed. There's been a lot of the new entrants, the companies like Revolut, like Wise, like Paysend, like any number of the services that are trying to bridge those divides and make specifically the payments across the borders or the working of a small and medium enterprises more efficient, etc., they're coming up. But this is still sort of an early stage story.
I see. So they still process a lot of documents manually.
That is there, or the time it takes is still long. The cost that is associated with this transaction is still too high. Interoperability is still too low, because technically there is absolutely nothing from engineering, say, perspective that precludes you from executing a payment from any point on the globe to any other point in the globe instantaneously, right? It's possible, and it's being done in some of the markets, right? And you know, there is a number of countries where you are basically used to the fact that you can do 24/7, whether business or a consumer transfer immediately. Yeah. But then you come to some other markets and you still have checks, you still have cash, you still have banking branches, you still have whatever 3% commission on a transfer, yada, yada, yada. So that part needs to be transformed, because if we want to become a more efficient and more optimal society globally, it has to evolve. But it will not evolve by itself, because I think what we're facing is with more of the Internet of Things devices, with more connected lives, with a lot more technology in our lives. The old, what we call fiat, right? The original money types of the payment infrastructure, payment rails.
Sorry, what does Fiat stands for?
Fiat is just a name for the normal currency. It's not an abbreviation.
I see.
Yeah. So so this is the reference to just the classical cash, dollars, rubles, crowns, whatever, euros. As the original money, basically, right? So that system was never built for the electronic future, right? So you have to do something with them, and you know, some of the existing players, they've been trying to evolve, like MasterCard and Visa are doing lots of things to enable tokenized transfers within their networks, right? Or for instance, SWIFT has introduced over the past few years the ability to do almost instantaneous transfers via the SWIFT network, right? But we believe that this is not enough. We believe that there has to be the next step, right? And we are investor into Paycent. It's one of our investments, and we've been seeing how that company is actually changing the shape of the international cross-border transfers. But we think that we need to take it to another notch. Another notch for us is to say, look, stablecoins, right? And all of the digital asset economy that is emerging is actually, from the get-go, is built for connected, internet-enabled, Internet of Things and device-connected future, right? Because it's algorithmic, it's API managed, it's API driven. It is not dependent on the legacy concepts and the legacy structures of the old banking world. However, the trouble with that part of the world is that it's geeky. Or people fear that in the moment that you say crypto, well, this is probably illegal trade, drugs, trafficking, whatever.
So are you looking to integrate fiat and cryptocurrency together, so people may easily exchange and use cryptocurrency to pay for regular stuff in everyday life?
We believe that sooner or later there will be simply no divide. It will not be this or that. We believe that what the stablecoin payment systems are introducing is a bridge between the old fiat-type transactions into the new, totally digital setup. So stablecoins are a great bridge because they look almost like the usual money
Yeah.
without all of this strange, non-charismatic side of the crypto story. But in fact, they are leveraging all of the infrastructure that Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies have built. And what they possess, as opposed to the old financial world, is specifically built for programmable future, built for API-driven connectivity, built for connectedness as a whole.
So when you say API-driven connectivity, what does it mean? Like, can you give some example?
I can execute a transaction using the programmable APIs. I know, and they're very well documented. They are made public, and as long as I am properly registered and authenticated,
Yeah.
I can actually trigger it without the complexities of connecting with the banking system, for instance. Yeah. So there is a.
So you're looking to replace banking system like at all?
I think that it will evolve, right? Because if you roll back 200-300 years,
Yeah.
there was no banking like the one that we're used to. Even if you roll back 50 years, you know, there wasn't anything like this. We believe that it will evolve, and we believe that banks will gradually more and more adopt these digital platforms for currency maintenance, be it fiat currency or the cryptocurrency, doesn't really matter. And we're already seeing a lot of the activity from the multiple central banks who are trying to launch their own stable coins, right? This CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies. I think it's a good initiative to do. I don't think that it will actually make as significant change as the stable coins themselves that are issued by external parties. I think it's really more sort of a small step for the central banks to get into the digital economy space rather than a huge leap. But what is important is that all of these digital assets, they've been built for being connected to devices, to systems, to other networks, right? As opposed to the regular cash. And the only thing is that right now, to do all of this connectedness requires developers and programmers and people who are very geeky in the cryptocurrency sense. And we want to see that evolving into a more sort of common folk type of the setup, where it doesn't require you being a Bitcoin geek to actually, you know, launch your business on that network.
Yeah, but you may have like ready-to-use platform,
Right?
But some governments may not be so keen on actually allowing people to use cryptocurrency. So
Yeah. True.
So there might be like a big deadlock in regulations. So are you like looking positively that people will change their minds over time, or are you focusing on the countries that they're just like positive about cryptocurrency?
You obviously start in the markets where it's legal and regulated, but regulated in a transparent way.
So what countries at the moment?
Obviously we work with Europe as the market. We work with the US as the market. We find working with other parts of the world where it's all clear and efficiently set up. And we are fine also working not directly, because as a fund it's not really something that we involve ourselves with, but we are interested in those players who actually would want to work with some of the local governments, helping them to better understand. That's why I'm saying that we are interested in investing in this infrastructure building blocks elements, where either it's a project that actually sets up infrastructure and the capabilities for corporate treasuries to manage their positions in non-fiat assets, be it stablecoins or cryptocurrencies, or maybe some other types of the digital tokens, right? And the third element to that is we're saying, look, if financial services will not go anywhere because they need to exist there because we still need to buy food, procure services, pay salaries, whatever, right? But it will eventually migrate into more of this digitally savvy world, right? But the other big element that we're saying is that because we are moving so much more into the state of being when a lot of the things are automated for us, right?
Yeah.
Or triggered for us from elsewhere.
Yeah.
So all of that is usually referred to as like agentic economies and whatnot. And we think that if you take the models and the agentic setups, and you need to somehow build them into the rest of the economy, you will never be able to do it with fiat setup. You can only do it efficiently with
using
the cryptocurrencies. Exactly, because most of them are exposing you the programmable methods of interoperating with the networks, right? As opposed to even Visa or MasterCard, right? Because that system is built on on completely previous set of the technologies and assumptions, as opposed to the digital. And that's exactly why we're saying, hey, financial services is important because this is the bloodstream of the economy, right? But it will have to change to accommodate more of this digital currency world, digital assets world, right? And if you take into that also the artificial intelligence, the agents, all of that orchestration layer, you're actually building something that can become a completely automated setup. What we also love to call it is that it moves from just a plain automation into more of self-sufficiency and autonomy, creating what we would call atomization, because it's a combination of autonomous and automated. And that's what that's the state of the projects and the state of the economy that we want to help and shape. And we believe that's where we're moving in, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years. This is where we're going to be.
So what's the difference you see AI and agentic models can bring to the finance world?
The simplest part of that, I think, it's the intelligent execution of triggers, signals, automated management of the flows, positions.
But at this point already, like I think like almost any process like can be automated without AI, right?
Yes, you can use rule-based systems. Yes, absolutely. You can have it simply. You can define the triggers and expect the system to act. However, what usually when an event occurs that is not falling into the rules that you've set up originally, something like this usually goes into some sort of error queue, right? Somebody's going to have to look into that and figure out what do we do with that, right?
Okay, so there is still human in the loop that takes a look at some like edge cases, hard cases that fall into the gray area, and you're not sure what to do about some kind of operations. Like whether it's fraud or like some suspicious operations.
It can be even not even the fraudulent transaction. It can be simply something that when you were defining the rules for, I don't know, budget management, right? You never expected that you will suddenly have to buy a ticket to a place so far remote that it will bust your travel budget, right? But you've set up the rules that your travel budget shouldn't exceed, a certain level.
Yeah.
So what do? That immediately falls in the personal case to you to decide. In the company case, usually would go into some sort of extra approval levels. It will not be automatically approved.
So example is, for example, you have a budget for one ticket. Let's say this is like 1,000 for one ticket, and you have a ticket that costs like $1,010, and like in the current state, it will go to some human to make a decision that it's okay, and we approve that. But we're looking to remove the human from the loop, and put agent that would be able to decide whether it's like reasonable or not to get that ticket.
Yeah, I think something like what you're describing, because usually when in a rule-based system, even if you have some sort of limits or the threshold, corridors, sooner or later you may exceed that corridor up or below the line. And the moment that goes into a human to make a certain decision, those decisions are also sort of pre-defined, right? Those decisions are usually linked to, okay, for this particular circumstance, this is fine, or I approve it as an exception, right? And I think in quite a few of the cases, those exceptions and those approvals can be triggered simply based on the past experience, which is very difficult to accommodate into a rule-based system. But you can, if you are using a model that learns based on the past history and then says, yeah, for this type of this is seasonal story, or we know that this is linked with this particular event and therefore it's fine. Or it may actually do a completely different thing and actually escalate it not just to next level, but a few levels up, because this is something that needs to be taken care of by somebody else. Still maybe going to the human in the loop perfectly, but at a completely different sort of level of authorization.
So you're just looking to reduce that volume that goes to humans for decision making, replacing that with agent?
Simplistically, yes. I think that's what's going to have to happen, and that's what a lot of the companies have been doing over the past number of years since the robotic process automation was brought in, right? Because that was the story that was saying that we will simplify a lot of the mundane and tedious activities that the people are doing, because you can build a rule-based system that would actually help you to automate a lot of that stuff, right? Still, you need somebody to take some decisions, but I think the difference between the RPAs, the robotic process automation, and the agentic setup is that again, RPA requires you to be very explicit in terms of what is yes and what is no, right? The model-driven agentic systems are a lot more flexible. They kind of mimicking our
they may
approach to
take in more of the context and more information.
Yes, they are somewhat more flexible, less rigid, right? Because the RPs are by definition very rigid.
It's either X more than some certain threshold, or it's less.
Yes. I mean, obviously this is a simplification. You could build a lot of, heuristics into the RPAs as well, but on a sort of a ground level, that's how they look. But I think this is just a start, because then you say, okay, I still staying maybe to a certain degree with RPAs and the analogy, right? You could, and you still can, build for yourself a whole bunch of these little robots that could automate a lot of the significant parts of your life or your business.
Automate like some certain little processes.
Correct. Yeah. But what you need is you need to have an orchestration layer above that, right?
That would just like trigger certain process, like
Trigger,
yeah.
take the pulse, what is happening, measure certain metrics, understand what is happening with the system as a whole, right? And then, based on the state of the system, may trigger some things. And you can do it at the level of the enterprise, you can do it at the level of a small company, you can do it at the personal level as well. And I think this is where the agentic systems are going to actually deliver the next level of value, because the atomic agents with an orchestration layer on top are going to actually make a lot of the difference in terms of how we are managing some parts of our lives. Now, I think I think many different previous generations of technologies were promised to do something like that as well. Whether they've delivered or not, I guess since we're still discussing it, they haven't. Whether AI in whatever form is going to do it for us remains to be seen, but we believe that this, when you take it into the business context, again, within that sort of frame of financial services industry, digital assets, and the AIs in a broader sense, that in that space, I think we will see a lot of the change for both just the financial industry as a whole and for their clients, be it companies or individuals.
I see. Are you looking at the companies that want to work on creating their own infrastructure and ecosystem for managing digital assets, or you're looking at the company that will develop some infrastructure that can be integrated into the existing banking systems?
I don't think that we are selecting between one and the other. I think we're fine. It's more like I'm fine with both. Because I think I don't think that there is a ready-made answer to whether this or that way is better. Because the first one which you're mentioning is, okay, people or companies or individuals who are building, trying to sort of build something new completely. Whereas the second one is more about evolving. I think that ultimately both will have to happen. Right? Existing institutions will have to evolve, but they will only evolve if they see there is something else is emerging that they may have never anticipated would actually exist. So from that perspective, I think that it's fine to take stake in this one and in that one and see which one actually works better.
I see. So this is the first part that you mentioned about the product itself, what you're looking for. So the second part, you said that you're looking at the founders.
Of course, yes.
So what are the specific traits of the character or past experience that you're looking for that you think will help a person or a team to succeed? And what are the red flags that you think will be like will be a thing that person won't be able to overcome?
I think that if I start with the red flags, I think that there may be some things that you can see immediately as a venture fund partner, but they're typically more on the level of is that person delivering a believable story, how they're treating, how they engaged into the process of actually communicating with you. Do they understand what they're building? So it's like very, very, very basic stuff where you basically see whether a person really knows what he wants to do or she wants to do. And this is not really a quality of a founder per se. It's probably more, is that person ready for that phase, so to speak. Yeah. So I wouldn't call it really a red flag. I think most of the red flags you actually kind of discover more in the process. And
in the process, when you start talking to a startup and you're trying to figure out whether or not you want to invest in the startup.
And then sometimes later, once you've invested and you started working with the founder and the founding team, and you start seeing whether they have what it takes for them to actually, I mean, they may have a beautiful story, they may have an excellent idea, they may even be able to build an excellent prototype, right? But then something happens, and you just realize that that they're not capable to take it to the next level. I've not in the fund, but because I've done some angel investing in the past, and I've been mentoring a number of the startups. So what I've observed a number of times is when, see, the journey of a startup founder is an interesting one in a sense that it kind of, I would say, that it comes into like in a very basic sort of storyline. There are two steps to it. The first one is when you had an idea and you've built a prototype that you're trying to bring to the market, maybe get some funding, get it to work. And then the second one is when you started getting your real customers and you need to start think of actually making that from an idea that you go around and pitch to people into a real business. And not everybody is capable of doing that change. Sometimes people are just, they get very comfortable, so to speak, in the state of almost ready. But for them to actually flip into, yes, this is the business that I run, is a quantum change, almost. And you can see sometimes the founders like that because they instead of being focused on finding that niche of a customer, identifying that this is exactly what the market and the clients want from you, and then understanding of how to scale it and to bring to more of the clients to satisfy more of the need, they start coming up with new features that are not relevant to the already identified client base, for instance, right? Or, which is worse, they've started figuring out that, for instance, to go to market, they need to strike a number of the partnership agreements. Because that helps them to actually reach more of the potential client base, but they fail to agree with any partner for any number of reasons. But you just start seeing that they are almost what's the word? As if they're almost failing themselves,
So are these people more of the technological enthusiasts rather than being business people?
Some of them can be. I've seen these people not only, coming from sort of engineering or technological background. I've seen these people even, more would say the marketing background, right? They love making beautiful pitches in the presentations. They can tell you everything about how the go-to-market strategy for their product should work, but they cannot deliver it.
Okay, so would for this case would be the good solution just to take on board another person who is capable of actually executing and making it into business, or?
It could be. Sometimes that probably is the only answer. But see, this is another interesting story with the founders, right? Now you're a founder, right? And your investors are telling you that you don't have what it takes to scale.
Yeah, but that's kind of like if it's your first startup and you didn't have a previous experience of scaling. that would be most likely the case, because
Yes.
you don't have this certain experience. You either have to get some advisors on board who know how to do it and will mentor it through the process, or you have to be extremely brilliant, and that is just something that happens too rare, I think.
Maybe. I don't have the stats, right?
Yeah.
I cannot really say how rare that is, but you're right. Obviously, if this is your first ever,
Yeah.
right, you probably don't have what it takes.
Yeah.
But then the question is how you react when you're told that you don't have what it takes. So people, your investors are coming to you and saying, Raya, I mean, you're smart and everything.
Yeah.
But you need to step aside, and we'll bring an efficient manager who will actually take it to the next level.
I don't see like exactly that you have to like step aside at all, but maybe you just need another person who will enhance your team and just cover all the skills that you don't have. So you as a team can go to the next level.
That's what ideally should happen, because if you're thinking about the team, the company, the project itself that you're trying to make a success, then ideally and logically that would be what should be happening. If you're getting a feedback that, look, maybe you can develop, but it probably is going to take you either longer than the company has, or this is really just not you, right?
But actually, I think the really positive side is if you get a new partner who can cover all the skills that you don't have, you actually can learn from each other. And
yes,
after this experience, you may just grow exponentially.
Could. But what it requires from you is really to accept the fact that you're a founder, right, and the fact that you've probably been dealing with this particular area, be it engineering, marketing, I don't know, sales or operations, finance, doesn't really matter. Some sort of a role within the team, but for the success of the team as a whole, you should let somebody else do that. And it doesn't make you invaluable. It actually makes you so much smarter. The reality is that I don't have the stats, but very frequently people just don't realize, because they think that if they are a founder, that it's only up to them to actually build something like this, right? And they can accept that after some period of time, they will have to graduate to maybe a slightly different role, maybe move out of the operational more into strategic, right? But it's very, very difficult for people to let go, because sometimes they become so attached to their own storyline that that statement that, look, you don't have what it takes, for them is almost a statement of a personal failure. And sometimes, I mean, there is the classical example is Steve Jobs and Apple, right? He's been ousted effectively by the board from the company that he's built, right? For the reasons that actually probably were a very good set of reasons, because he really did not have what was required back then for the company to grow. Doesn't mean that necessarily the board and that efficient management that they've then put into the place knew so much better, but he certainly, with his past experience, with his level of maturity at that time, he probably didn't, right? So for him to actually being ousted from the company that he founded, right, was a significant blow.
Yeah, but actually they later on they brought him back.
Yes, they did. They did bring him back as a savior. And for him, I think his story is very interesting, because he effectively had a hiatus from the company. It was a huge blow for him to be ousted, but he's used it as a learning experience to understand what is it that he needs to change. And he explored his passions, he searched for the new opportunities, he's established Pixar, he's launched Next Computing as a completely different company. And through accumulation of those experiences, right, he's come to the point when he could actually come back, right?
Yeah.
Or take over Apple once again, be brought back to basically restart the culture and the energy. That is an awesome story about how a person was forced to understand something that they couldn't, but then was also smart enough and mature enough to return and help the company that he founded to really propel to excellence almost, right? Taking a lot of the hard decisions in the process, but he is an exceptional story. Certainly, in most other cases, what I've been observing is that it's hard for the founder to appreciate the fact that there are people, sometimes even within the team that he has, that could deal better with some of the challenges that the company is facing than him.
Yeah.
And that's not even for the founder, sometimes even for the line managers. The appreciation of the fact that if you let people be themselves, help them only to not make certain mistakes, right? But not trying to shield them from ever making mistakes. That way you're actually building strength and the power in the company and that or in the team, and that's what's gonna make your success, as opposed to patronizing and babysitting.
Yeah, I totally agree with that strategy, but in regards to these founders that struggle to detach from their own product and try to think in more strategic way. So what usually happens to their journey and their company?
I think one of two things happen, and I was thinking of an example, and the one that came to me is Uber. I think, as you may know, the founder was also ousted ultimately, with some scandals, obviously. But there was a period of time before that when he seemingly had been associating himself with the company maybe a little bit too much, to the point that he was drawing, being already CEO, right? He was drawing a new logo of the company, which was also met with a lot of...
himself, he was drawing a logo?
Yes. This, and I think that many people were saying that the logo that was before was better than the one that he's drawn, because it was, but it was crazy, right? But anyway, going back to your question, I think one of two things happens with the company. Either that founder, one way or another, is going to get ejected. Either the board and the shareholders find a way to do it more or less peacefully, but that's sort of one story. The second one is when the company simply goes bust, because if he becomes too much of a hero for himself, right, and he goes totally into that hero trip, he can really crush the company. So I don't think that there is any other way, because the third way is for him to actually appreciate the fact that he is probably not enough anymore, and he needs to let go. Now that let go can actually take very interesting stories, right? He can step aside, get a professional from inside the company, from outside the company, to help him manage something, as you rightly say, learn, and maybe on the new sort of spin of the spiral to actually come back a lot more infused and mature into that same story. So that was, you asked about the red flags about the founders. I think that unfortunately that this vector, this sort of trip that we've taken has actually taken us a little bit away from.
So you're trying to look for someone who would know their weaknesses as well as their strength, who would be humble.
Yes.
And at the same time confident.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that is kind of like
yes.
interesting combination.
It is an interesting combination because I think there is a sort of a preset idea that an ambitious person is rarely humble, and a humble person is rarely too ambitious, right? But I also think you would not be a startup founder unless you have just a little bit of that arrogance and gambling. You don't want to take because why would you want to go into the startup business if you don't have at all this,
But what are there actually the alternatives? Like, let's say for example,
9 to 5 job.
Yeah, but like, let's say for example, you're like a regular person, you're not coming from general wealth, you wanna start building a general wealth for your kids, for your grandchildren. So what actually there are ways to get rich. You have to you actually have to do your own business, because I don't see any other way.
You're right. You would probably not become rich on a salary. That's true.
Like when you work a regular 9 to 5 job, you either have to join some good startup as a founding engineer or someone else who would benefit from the company skyrocketing, right? Or you will just earn a regular salary that will be just enough to cover the basic expenses, and that's it.
I agree, but I think what I would want to say here is that between a 9 to 5 job and a startup,
yeah,
these are not binary states. There is a continuum, right? I mean, you don't have to start a startup to actually own your own business.
Right? Sure. Like you
could be a mechanic, right? You could open up a mechanic shop, or you could be a baker. You could open up a bakery, and well, maybe you have a family recipe that has been sort of passed on from one relative to another, and that would be a success. It does not necessarily require the startup. Startup, by definition, is a project that may or may not succeed. And the idea with the startup is that you experiment and you learn something, and maybe you actually find that particular spark that will help you go access above the investments that they made. But to become rich and to provide for your whatever future generations and whatnot, you don't have to start a startup. You could build a business from a shop.
Yeah, but basically you still need to go from working as an employee. You need to move to being a business owner.
That is true. No, that is a given. Aside from very lucrative positions of some whatever crazy 6-7 figure CEOs.
Okay, so there is actually another way. You can just work in a trading company as a quantitative researcher or something. Just be a trader.
Yeah, you could be a
or
quant.
invest
you
in
could
banking.
Be
Or invest in banking.
Or you could go into the crime activities. That also I think pays sometimes, but that is actually a little closer to the startups because there is a risk. There is a certain risk.
Yeah, but we're talking about like legal ways to
Yeah. Okay, fine. If we're staying within the legal space, then yes. There are ways, yeah, but I agree. There are certain professions that can give you a good outcome in terms of the money that you can earn. That are not necessarily the startup jobs, and they're not necessarily business building activities, be it indeed very highly specialized professions or highly skilled individuals, right? That is not. But this is, I think, a sort of a thin layer, right? If you take quantitatively the population of any, give or take, successful country, right? I think that most of the wealth that you would see, sort of stable wealth, will be in that, mid-sized businesses that are operated by people, not in the startups.
I see. So going back.
Oh, yeah. By the way, in the end of the day,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be a startup ecosystem if there were no venture funds that are using funds provided by LPs, who are usually not necessarily significant risk takers, and this is an extra, cash that they have to allocate into this sort of adventurous activities, right?
Yeah.
So you need to have a very good middle class, highly sustained, for a robust startup ecosystem.
I see. So going back to the founders. So can you somehow foresee the future problems, like with a person being like too arrogant, or not being able to manage their own ego, or are you able to foresee like any future conflicts that may occur between the founders? So like how often actually this situation when founders start fighting with each other, and that actually starts hurting the company?
Well, I don't know whether you can foresee. Yeah, you probably can see some dynamics between people. Somehow you can also hear whether a person is arrogant or not. Yeah, like last year we were looking at one project where a person thought that he is so smart that, everybody else in the room was complete dumb. I don't think that he's raised any money.
That's too much.
But sometimes people, they get so high on their own supply that they just stop seeing the limits. But that is a relatively easy one. Sometimes it really comes across very quickly, and sometimes you actually see it even within the pitch presentation. You can tell that the person is just so full of it that the conflict between the founders, that is, I think, is a bit more difficult, because I guess it kind of depends on how did you come about to be co-founders. Because sometimes it's very natural, because you've known each other from maybe the previous projects, for example, and you realize that whatever you were doing jointly there, you could do actually much better if you do it once again, because you accrued certain experience, and maybe you were in analytics, and you have a buddy who's pretty good at actually creating nice spin for the market, so he can do that, and you've got somebody who's actually very good at organizing people, and so you three go and set it up. I think that as long as your system of beliefs and the values is very close, the conflicts can only occur if you face something where your sort of ground beliefs are going to be challenged in different ways, right? The most classical one there, I think, is when you were growing at a certain pace, and it's no longer 3 of you, it's actually 30 of you, right? And unfortunately, you've run onto the rough spot. You cannot fundraise for whatever reasons, bad timing. and your revenues are not growing the way that you expected them to.
Yeah.
But you can understand that if you just stretch for a little bit longer, maybe another 6 or 12 months, right?
Yeah.
That rough patch would pass away. But to do that, you have to take certain not very popular measures, like maybe reduce from 30 to 15. And for some people, this is basically they cannot, because
They cannot lay off people.
they cannot lay off people, or they feel very bad about having to do that. For them, it breaks something inside, and they no longer can function like that, and that may create the first bit of a divide.
But don't you have to be prepared to do that if you like get into
Verbally, you are always prepared, right? I mean, you talk to anybody, any line manager, any startup founder, they will say, yeah. If we run onto a tough situation, yeah, of course we can execute on that. But it's a difference between saying things and doing things.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. Because you've been building this crazy stuff for the past 2 years with that 30, people, and 30 people is a very small team.
Yeah.
You know each other. You go drinking together. You whatever spend weekends maybe with someone.
Yeah, I imagine that is very sad, but I think like as an employee myself, when I joined the startup, from day one, I expect that any point I may receive that message that we're sorry, we don't have the funds anymore, we have to let you go. But that's, if I didn't want that situation, I would go and work for some big tech companies that have more capacity in the funding, and I would know that this situation is much less likely to occur.
Yeah, but see, the difference, what you're saying is completely sane and logical.
Yeah.
But the problem is that this is you on the receiving end.
Yeah.
They are on the giving end.
Yeah.
For some people to come to his small or her small team of 5 people and say, sorry guys, 3 of you have to go.
Yeah.
Is basically a difficult thing to do, too difficult. I'm not saying, that this will immediately create any sort of dynamics between the founders, but this may become like the first building block. So how will the cohesiveness between the co-founders stay when they go through the difficult times
during the crisis
exactly
period.
This is what shows. But then again, like they always say, you pass through the difficult times, you pass through the beautiful times. Now, success may also be very difficult. For some people, success becomes a drug.
Success? Why is it a difficult success?
Well, because we remember how they say, fire, water, and the brass. Right? Because you suddenly start thinking maybe a little bit too much about how good you are. You kind of lose the calibration, if you wish, right? And that may create attention. And then also, sometimes people you actually discover and understands how selfish some people may become, even if you seem to have shared so much in terms of the value system. But I would still say that if the general value system is very close between the co-founders, I think it's less likely that they will actually face something like this, because then they will adapt to each other. Now, if you're a co-founder, it's not because you've set it up yourself, because you had an idea that you can do it better than the previous guys. If it was a story that you're a founder and you're very good at, I don't know, maybe at analytics, right? But you need somebody who can do marketing and maybe a bit of the engineering stuff for you. And you're looking for them externally. That's where it's very difficult to actually get co-founders that would so much share your belief system. Because you don't necessarily know those people, right? And with that, you may actually run into the situation that you much faster you can run into the difficulties and disagreements and break apart. But I mean, this is normal.
So do you know the statistics, like what share of the startups are co-founded by people that known each other for years, or for a couple of complete strangers that just want to work on the same idea and they just have complementary skills?
I don't think that I have that statistics. It would be actually interesting to look at. I think actually I need to check that. Maybe there is a little bit on that in this
Maybe
recently.
you can just give some rough estimation.
Rough estimation, I can guess. I can guess that usually startups are founded by people who've known each other for some time. Yeah, not necessarily for too long. Some startups are indeed formed by recruiting the co-founders because you need an engineering co-founder, right, for instance. But for me, it's a bit. I'd say that this is probably. It's a little deceptive. He's not really a co-founder. He's just one of the first, people to join, and you need for a team slide, right? Somebody like this. I think it's good because I saw a few projects that were very, for instance, technology focused, where the CTO was not a co-founder, and they never worked well. Because
they never work well?
Yeah, because if to a significant degree the success of your project is dependent on a person who is not as much invested into this, who is just on the salary, it's just not going to fly. Because I think that in a startup what is important is that the critical elements in terms of resourcing, i.e. the co-founders, absolutely must have skin in the game. Because they need to, it's a bad word, but they need to be in the position to lose something. Because only then they will be working on creating it.
But actually you work on a startup as a co-founder or as an employee, actually.
The loss is different.
What do you have to lose? Okay, so you work on this startup, it doesn't take off, you have to lay off people or fire the whole team maybe, I don't know.
Start anew.
Yeah, just start another project. Are you really losing something here?
Depends. You may have invested. You may have invested your own money.
Yeah, maybe you lost some money, but you gain a lot of experience. You can learn from your failures, and you can try doing something else again.
Of course, but it really depends on your perception of a failure. Is a failure a sort of a verdict on your capacity to build anything, or is a failure a learning experience?
Of course, you have to fail a number of times in order, one time to get it right.
How many times have you failed?
I don't know.
What is the most spectacular failure that you had that was a learning experience for you?
The most spectacular. I cannot say that I had some spectacular failures that were really public, but analyzing my experience when I was, for example, in high school, and I participated in some mathematical competitions. The first competition that actually I went to, it was in the 7th grade, and there I only solved the half of one mathematical problem. So I got something like 3 points out of maybe 24 or 30. It doesn't really matter. So actually I went to these competitions, and for a number of times I didn't want anything. I only solved half of the problem or one problem. But at the 10th grade, I got to participate in the mathematical competition at the national level, and I actually got to be in a top 30, 35 people that scored most in that competition. So that allowed me that allowed me actually to chill all the 11th grade, because I didn't have to worry about exams, because I knew I was going to get in any Russian university that I wanted to go. So,
so what has it changed in your life?
I don't think that anything really changed drastically, because I was already actually in a really good school, so probably I was going to pass those exams anyway. And if if I didn't win that competition, I would have, the next year I would have won like something simpler that still would get me into the university that I wanted to get in. And yeah, so everything would be fine anyway. I don't know.
So was it worth it?
Worth what? Going to the competitions?
Yeah.
I did it not because I wanted to win each competition.
Why did you?
Because I just liked going there. I liked spending time working on some problems. I liked after the competitions, you can just like walk with your friends and just spend time discussing the problems. And I did it not because I expected to win anything, actually. I did it because I really liked just going there and spend this time just trying to solve something. And I like this kind of like social interaction afterwards, that you can just like brainstorm with your friends and discuss it. Yeah, so I don't know.
That's very good, because but this is all sort of individualistic, right? Because this is all about your experience for yourself. When you are starting a business, right, you're taking responsibility not only for yourself but also for the ones that you hire, convince to work with you, provide products to.
Right?
Sure,
but there are like certain risks, and I guess that people that join you, they understand that there are risks.
Yeah, they do.
And that it may or may not work out. Of course, if it's not working out, you will get upset, and the people that you have to lay off, they also will get upset, and that is totally fine. But kind of, you just need some time to process it and move forward.
Yeah, I guess you have to. But coming back to why I think that it's important for some of the roles within the startup to be on the co-founder side rather than on the hired individual side, is simply because that actually I think it actually creates it vests onto you responsibility not only for yourself, right? You're absolutely right. If you're joining a startup as an employee, you understand that this is not a multi-million-dollar transnational corporation that will probably survive you and your grandchildren. But it is a story that may or may not actually survive until the Christmas, right? However, if you are a co-founder who is investing his time and hiring people and building the partnerships and talking to clients, your perspective differs, because you are trying to build something that changes the world, right? And you're taking responsibility for those who you take with you. And that's so for me, if we're talking about an engineering, a technology-driven company, right, where 80% of the success is dependent on how good the product is technically.
Yeah.
And the person who is leading that team is not a co-founder.
Yeah.
The likeliness of success for me is lower than where he is.
I see.
At least in, for the certain period of time. Ultimately, you would come to the point where you are, I don't know, a few hundred people company, and then it maybe is a little bit less important, yeah. But up to a certain point, you absolutely need to, because if it's a critical expertise, if this is basically what makes or breaks your story, I think it should. It is not a guarantee. It is not 100% rule. It may be that you may have an excellent CTO who is not a co-founder, but he is gonna do an awesome job simply because you have somebody who is a head of product who helps him. Or you are, as a CEO, you're so good at explaining, investing into people, or investing or infusing people with this idea. That may still be enough. But all things considered, I would rather see that if we're talking about, say, a crypto startup, that it's not built by just the marketeers, because,
So at the end of the day, can you share what happened to that certain team?
Which one?
Like we were talking about that team that you invested in. And,
that one, yeah. Right. So yes, and the story there was that basically because the CTO was basically expecting a paycheck every month.
Yeah.
When the company ran into a more of a sort of rougher patch.
Yeah. He bounced off.
Well, he started taking some jobs on the side, right? So he lost the focus on the project.
I see.
But more interesting part was when the business was approached by a potential buyer that wanted to buy it outright or to make a significant investment. And at that point, suddenly, the guy was disappointed he is not part of the founding team, and that he's not going to benefit from the fact that the company would be purchased.
But he probably had some stocks or something.
He hasn't. He refused.
Nothing?
He refused to take the stock, and this is another one, right?
Nothing?
Yeah. He said, I salary only.
But that doesn't make any sense.
It does not. I agree, and this is probably even a bigger red flag. If you have people who are critical for success of your story, fine, they're not co-founders, but they need to have something
stock
that actually will number of times increase their payout if the story is successful.
Yeah.
But in that case, he was not. He was just a salaried employee, effectively, or you could even say contracted employee, effectively. And but the attitude totally changed, because he was like, no, I want now a share in the business.
No, but that's too late, sorry.
Absolutely, totally. But sometimes people are naive like that, and they don't want the risks, but they suddenly want the upside. But you can't have it both ways. You have to kind of, if you take this road, then accept it.
I see. So, in your experience, you didn't encounter like working with the companies where co-founders fight?
No, there are always conflicts between people, but a conflict is not a fight, and as long as it doesn't lead to a company breaking up, that is probably part of the healthy process of maturity, I think. No, I don't think that we've had any sort of setups where we've run onto a significant fallout between the founders. We had some projects where the founders left for a variety of reasons, but then
one of founder left.
Yeah, they would sell his share to
the other co-founder and just left.
Yeah, because things have changed in life, and he needed to move on.
I see. So let's talk about third parties. Is you mentioned that you're also looking at the business plan, right?
Yes.
So what are the most common mistakes that founders do in a business plan?
Thinking small.
Can you give some example?
Well, like they're looking only at a very narrow slider of the market,
Yeah.
and which makes it almost like they don't diversify it enough.
Yeah.
And that means that they potentially lose, an opportunity that may be adjacent. They kind of lose the potential flexibility very early. The opposite of that, thinking too big, right? When they basically saying sky is the limit, we're gonna have 10% of the market in the next 2 years, but the market doesn't actually exist. Third one, I would say not being able to actually define what the market is. You start looking at the project and you realize that they have an idea, but it's not clear whom that idea is for. And you start seeing that it's probably something that the founders find interesting and exciting to do, but they haven't actually found the market.
But that would be like pre-seed stage, right?
Yeah, it would be. But sometimes even later it can be, because sometimes look, we are also people. We may get in love with what we're seeing simply because it kind of resonates with us. I, for one, made a promise to myself never to invest into something that I feel that I'm falling in love with.
Oh, really? Why?
Because you lose objectivity.
But
You may be very interested in
yeah.
it. It may be something that excites you,
Yeah.
but you don't have to fall in love.
But what is it? What if it's like a charity project, for example?
What projects are?
Charity
yeah.
project.
A charity project is a different story. A charity and the startup are completely different worlds. In a charity, you're doing something because you feel good about doing it.
But can you still invest maybe as an angel investor?
Angel investment doesn't necessarily mean that you are falling in love with the object of your investment. It's an investment. Any investment, see, it's like this. You kind of lose objectivity.
So you lose objectivity to the point that you can't bring a value to the team?
Because you may not be able to sort of serve for them as more of an independent challenger, right? You start, the worst thing that may happen is that you actually start putting yourself into the operational positions there, right?
I see.
Because
I see.
this is the point when if you're an angel investor and you've put in some money into the project that you believe will take off and you like the story and you suddenly realize that you love the story, consider becoming co-founder. Because
consider becoming what?
becoming a real co-founder and going then into that business, just think for yourself, would you want to do it? Would you want to become part of that, not as an investor, but as an internal person?
Yeah.
Maybe you do have the resources, the skills, the knowledge, that would benefit it. But accept the fact that you will have to respond to the externalities as part of the team, right? You take the responsibility not only for however much money you put in, but for the entire pie, right? And if the answer is yes, I want to do it, then make that switch. If the answer is no, I don't want to do it, then try and step away, as in take a distance and look at that more in a more sober mind, because
I see.
then the project would benefit a lot more if you are a more independent and less emotionally loaded person.
I see. Yeah. So have you ever thought yourself to co-found or found any company?
No, I think I don't think that I have the guts,
Why?
I don't know. Maybe I don't have that maybe my tolerance level to risk is a bit too low.
Really? But you're still a managing partner at a venture fund.
Yeah, sure.
This is.
But it's kind of like, those who know do, those who don't, they teach.
No, but still, you're actually taking a lot of risks, right? Managing these assets and allocating to certain kind of projects that, of course, you analyze them, but still.
But it's a different story. Look. Firstly, you're not fully invested into just a single project, right?
Sure.
You're balanced. You diversified, right? You do it with the full understanding that out of whatever 100 investments that you would do, maybe a few would pan out, right?
Yeah.
You accept the fact that you have to go through, like this year, we've gone through about 60 projects, just looking at them, analyzing them, assessing them, right? And we've made only 3-4 investments. And that actually is not such a bad conversion rate. But if you are a founder, right, it's a different story. This is your thing.
Yeah.
This is the only thing that you have.
Yeah.
At the point of time, at least.
Yeah.
So it's a different story. I just, when we talked about the salary job and the startup, I was a few times thinking about sort of this middle ground, because but this is also very challenging to a degree, because like I like to cook, right? And a lot of my friends who've enjoyed my cooking were many times asking me, Andrei, why don't you, open a restaurant? Yeah, and my answer to that was, there is a big difference between doing something that you love, so that you can share it with others who would appreciate it.
Yeah.
When you want it.
Yeah.
When you're in the mood. And a completely different story is that you have to do it every day.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And maybe the appreciation of the side that accepts what you're doing is so strong that you can actually do it every day. Right? And I know I think for somebody who is setting up or launching a restaurant business, or I don't know, the beauty salon or a cafe, a shop, whatever, this is extremely important, that this is, they know that they can do it really well.
Yeah.
They will get so much back from their customers that it would actually help them and allow them to carry on doing it every day. I kind of think that I will not get enough. On top of the fact that I'm not a professional cook, and the fact that I remember there was a point of time when I was saying that I think for any management team in a company, what they need to once in a while try and learn more about is how a kitchen in a restaurant operates, because I think it's a mini universe of an enterprise that is actually moving at an extremely fast pace, right?
Yeah, it has to.
But and when it's very, very well organized, it's just like a clockwork, right? And if it isn't, then it is an immediate failure.
Yeah, it is.
And none of the most of the enterprises that I've ever seen, or the companies or the startup projects, they have the capability to run the simulation at that speed, like a kitchen of a restaurant. And I'm amazed with how some people are successful in setting things up like that, and I don't think that I have it.
I can see it. That is actually like, and also the shifts that cooks and waiters work, that's like crazy. They work 12-hour shifts.
But that's I mean, have you not worked 12-hour days?
12-hour day? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. No.
So you never worked 8 till 8?
Of course, I worked until 8 and 9 and midnight, and but like it wasn't every day. I don't have to do that every day. Like sometimes I need to stay late, but it's just like
Okay, it's not every day. Yeah,
it's
I
just
agree.
some periods.
Yeah.
Like if you need to do that every day for a long period of time, that's completely different story.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. But then it's also different in terms of the overall pace, right? Because when you were working till midnight, you were probably trying to solve a complicated problem, right? Which required a lot of your mental capabilities, but you were probably not moving much, right?
Yeah.
So for them, it's a different story. I think we also have to be very appreciative of people who work in the in Horeca as a business, the hotels, restaurants, and hospitality, basically. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because just like some of the other service industries, they are facing human beings who come to their institute, to their businesses in completely different states of mind and and emotional states, and they have to face it. And sometimes I'm amazed how capable they are at that, because I've seen so many people who are not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really hard job. Yeah.
Totally.
So let's talk about in general about a startup journey. So at some point, startup already has an MVP. They have maybe first client, product market fit. You decide that this is the right company to invest in, and so then at what point may you expect to get your returns back?
I guess it differs.
And then what conditions?
There are a few types of exit strategies that usually exist with the startup. A startup may end up being acquired by somebody.
Like by other company?
By another company, by a larger company, or by a competitor, or by somebody who is playing in adjacent market or something like this, right? A company may actually attract a much larger investment round, which would allow to pay off some of the early investors, right?
So if the company acquires a new round, then on some conditions, sometimes early investors may get out.
Yes,
but why would they want to get out?
There are like, you remember when we at the beginning were saying how, for instance, the funds are structured, right? Some of them may be closed-ended, right? So some of them may have, say, 10 years.
Yeah.
Within which they need to then deliver returns to their investors, right? So for the fund like that, you would want to get paid at some point, right? So you would want to get some money out of your investment. You may not necessarily even sell the entire thing, but you would want to at least pay back your LPs with a certain return, right? So that is one. The second reason why you may want to exit, you may not necessarily, it may no longer, match the thesis of your investment thesis. You want to do something else.
Oh, I see.
Right. So there may be reasons why you would want to. You've been too long with the company. You don't want to be with that same company for so long. You need money for some other more lucrative
You want just to rearrange your assets.
Totally. So that is a normal thing. So, and the third option that is always there is that the company may go for the IPO. But the IPO is typically for the company that is operating in a large enough industry that would certainly have a promise of growing significantly more, rather than, a majority of startups are never going for the IPO. Obviously, the ones that actually go through the scale-up phase, because 90% of the startups fail at the scale-up, right? So, out of 10% that survive the initial rounds, 90% die because they can never scale, right? Out of those, I think 9 would be purchased by somebody, and only 1 would actually go to the IPO. I would say probably the stats are like that, yeah. And yeah, so for the fund, the payout that they can expect, well, normally is no sooner than maybe 3-4 years from the moment of the investment.
Yeah.
Because they would, and it's triggered really by a few things, because you do want to get not 10%, not 20%, right? You want to have a multiple of what you invested.
Yeah.
And for that, you need to let the company grow first, right? Then you need to have a liquidity event that allows you to get the payback, right? It's either a secondary purchase or the investment round where there will be some cash out planned, or a complete acquisition, right? So that kind of makes it so that it's a bit longer looking.
Yeah. So and usually, how long it takes for you from your initial investment till your payout?
Like I said, it varies from anywhere between 3 and 4 years.
3 and
4.
3 and 4 years.
Yeah, maybe longer, maybe 7 years. Yeah.
But 3 to 4 years, that's kind of sounds pretty fast.
It is relatively fast, but this is for the cases for the indices that are really fast growing, right? And this is when if it's a project that is on really exponential track, this is the point where you may start actually having a reason to exit if you need to, right? Then again, remember we said that a typical fund, it goes through the phases, right? The first, you need to actually attract the investment. Then you need to do the deployment of that investment, right? So that is, say the first phase is whatever, 6-12 months maybe. Then the second phase for you maybe 2 or 3 years, right, to do the full deployment. If you are a closed-ended fund with 7 years to maturity, that leaves you only with another 3-4 years to actually exit.
I see.
If you're open-ended, then you can live until whatever is the time you want to liquidate your investments and go to Bahamas. So buy an expensive car, obscenely expensive car.
So I think we talked about a lot of the components of the venture fund, but the one thing that we didn't talk about yet is how actually are you looking for the potential investments that you might be interested in investing in? Do they come to you somehow? Like, do they apply through your website, or are you actually always on the search for new potential projects yourself?
We are not such a big name that companies are banging on our website trying to get our attention. So we're not A16Z, we're not Sequoia, we're not Y Combinator. But we do get some inbound through the websites. I don't think that anything that we've seen through that organic channel has looked as anything significant. But there were some interesting things to look at least maybe to get some assessment of what is happening in the particular industry. There is a certain amount of the inbound that comes through LinkedIn, because the fund's partners are being approached by this or that startup founder, but also not the huge one. I would say that most of the stuff that we've been looking at is either referrals by somebody that we know, or it's just from the network that we've had or built through meeting at the conferences and whatnot. Referrals, I would say, is the largest. Sometimes it's a referral because one startup knows about another startup and they recommend us. Sometimes it's more because you never, in most cases, especially in the later stage startup, you're not alone as an investor. So there are other funds or institutions that are also there. And sometimes they get approached by the project that is, for instance, too early stage or too small for them, right? In terms of the investment ticket, so they recommend something like this. Sometimes we get I've had a few projects this year that I looked at that were interested, but they were looking for the amount of money or the structure of the investment that I couldn't offer them. That I would recommend them to the larger fund that
I see. And from the startup perspective, if it's like a good team, a good idea, a good project, probably they have a number of investors that are interested into investing in them, right?
Yes.
So what actually the value that your fund is bringing in for them, so that would stand out?
Because we operate in that space that I mentioned, that we look at this sort of triplet of FI, FinTech, AI, and the digital assets. The partners that are in the fund, that they have a very good knowledge certainly of the FinTech industry. They've been in that, and I've been working in banking and in the payments industry for multiple years, right? They have a similar, maybe lesser knowledge, but similar knowledge in the digital. And they have a keen interest in the AI. So what we're offering usually to our projects is that we can connect you with the players in at least in two of these three. We know whom to connect you to, depending on what you're looking for, right?
In what sense you can connect them? So they can collaborate, or you may help to find them talent to bring on to their team?
More like we can help them to get from wanting to work with somebody to working with somebody much faster. Like, for instance, if you take the FinTech space, especially if you're more of a classical, I don't know, neobank, right? You would want to work with Visa and MasterCard. And now, obviously, you can just go and write into your local Visa or MasterCard relationship office and try and go through the levels. Now, we know people basically at the top. So we don't have to go through the top, obviously, if you want to start a business in Serbia, but we know whom to actually talk to who oversees that particular type of the instruments or these features in the MasterCard structure and say, hey, by the way, do you want to look at that project? And that makes the time between bootstrapping and actually doing some business much shorter. So typically on the market, this type of venture funds are calling themselves smart money, because it's not only about money that we bring, it's also about the network that we bring. There are other funds that are more about, okay, they provide you with investment because they are kind of more looking at building a portfolio, right, within which, they can also facilitate certain network effects and whatnot, but this is not the primary for them. For us, it's more of a primary focus, right? We can do also a little bit of the interest in terms of the talent and what have you, but we are more about actually building these connections in the business network.
I see.
So this is what kind of we can bring. And then again, the other thing that is always there is that we can always be sort of a sparring partner for the founders if they want to validate certain hypotheses, because we are willing to invest time.
So you also serve as an advisors to the companies that you
we almost always do, especially in the early stage, and we're trying to be connected with them all throughout, because like there's one project that I'm looking at, or actually we've invested in, and our stake is actually small, right? But I think I'm spending more time with the founder than the big investor, because they just gave the money. I am interested in their success.
I see. And how are your interactions look like? Do you have like monthly calls, or they like at some point when they want your advice, they would just reach out like, hey, we're thinking about this and that, like we wanted to show you. And
it's a combination. I do try to stay in touch with the projects on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Whether I can say like monthly, more frequent, less frequent, give or take, yeah, maybe something like that. They also do reach out. Plus, at least in a number of cases, because it's an early phase in the development of the company, and we typically are one of the few investors, very few investors, maybe even the only one yet, right? Or at least we're the lead in that investment. We typically would have a seat at the project's board, right? And then there is also a formal point of contact that that board needs to meet at least once a quarter, for instance. That's typically the minimal that you have. Maybe more frequent depending on the stage of the development of the project. And that's another point where you obviously have a touch with them. Yeah? Plus, if it's a relatively early stage, if it's a seed, pre-seed, maybe even like early stage Series A, within the next 6 to 18 months, they are going to be raising again. Right? And so that is another trigger.
I see. So you worked before in a banking industry, right? For more than 20 years.
Almost 30, yeah.
Yeah. So so how do you feel like working in a venture fund comparing to those previous experience that you had?
Well, I like it because, I mean, first of all, it's a different track. I like first 10 years of my banking experience, I worked in finance because that's my university education. I'm a finance major. Then I switched the gears because I had like huge passion for technology ever since my high school years. So I switched to IT. So I spent like probably next almost 18 years in IT. Then I've done a little bit of my sole consultancy for a couple of years, and also served as a member of the board of a few organizations. Then I joined a startup as the technology head, but it was already, it was not an early stage startup. It was actually Paysend, and I joined them at the Series B stage. And now working as a partner at the venture fund, it's sort of like a new industry, a very different role. So it helps to at least keep your brain working efficiently, and hopefully delays the Alzheimer a little bit at least.
So you like that it's something new that you haven't done before?
Yeah, it is. But it's also a combination of some things that I have done before, right? So it's not like
completely
new.
something.
Yeah, totally not. But the fact that you can leverage from the stuff that you've done before.
Yeah.
So I understand technology. I understand how organizations work. I know what banking is about.
Yeah.
I know finance. If I need to look at the financial model, I can see what the issue with the projection easily, right? And so it helps you to kind of combine that into a very nice package, right?
Yeah.
I think it's almost it's very different actually, because I was thinking that it maybe is somewhat similar to working at the board level, because we're usually when you're working for a very well organized board of a company, the board of directors of the company, it is expected that you are delivering expertise in the area for which you are sort of hired into the board, right? But at the same time, it's expected that you will help the rest of the board and the management to grow because you kind of differentiate their experience, you make it richer, right? But it's kind of a different dimension. With the startup, with the venture fund, you have to invest your skills as sort of finance professional in the past, as the technology professional, and enthusiast in the present, as as a person who's seen how businesses are run or how they misbehave and things like it. So that's a very nice and very exciting event to a certain degree combination. It's maybe very boring sometimes when you have to go and read through the contracts and the conditions and whatnot. Maybe somewhat emotionally loaded when you're dealing with some quirks of the founders, as we talked just in the last hour or so. But it's dynamic, and I guess that's what is cool.
Do you enjoy meeting new people and talking to them and I don't know. Do you enjoy that part, or is it or may it be draining? I don't know. I guess it may.
I used to think of myself as an introverted person who would prefer not to speak to another person, if I don't have to. I think I still am, but as you know, extrovert or introvert, it's not a binary condition. It's a range, right? You're somewhere, right?
In the middle.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, it's basic, and plus it depends on in a particular social situation, whatever.
Yeah.
So and it tends to change with age. I think people tend to move more towards the middle, away from the fold with age, simply because you gain some experience, you know how the human beings are working, so it's less scary. Plus, for a teenager, it maybe risks are high. So to your question, I guess because the situations that I'm meeting with those people are well articulated and well defined, it's I feel safe. Sometimes I enjoy it. Sometimes you meet really interesting people. Or you meet inspiring people who believe in what they want to build.
Yeah.
And that level of conviction may even be quite something. You kind of it spreads like a disease almost. Yeah. But sometimes it's just something that you have to do, right? So it's you don't dislike it, but you don't get the kick out of it either.
Do you need to recharge after this work that is actually sometimes can be, I guess, emotionally draining? Do you have some tips or tricks? How do you recharge?
Yeah, well, I used to run somewhat irregularly, but that was helping me a lot in the past. I haven't actually been doing it recently. Well, summer was very hot, so
yeah,
you're not enjoying running in 30-degree heat.
Yeah.
Now is a better time. Maybe I should resume. I think things like various types of sport, and for me more individual ones rather than the team ones, are probably a good way of taking you out of that, and also at the same time spending some energy that you may have accrued that needs to get out. Be it running, cycling, swimming, I don't know. That may all work. I also always found actually, since I started running, that being also quite a meditative exercise, simply because there is a rhythm that helps you to, you know. The other thing that I love to do is, as I mentioned, I kind of love cooking, and then that also helps me to recharge, because I guess it's a combination of two things for me. One is that it's very tactile, so you can feel, you can sense. It's very sensory as well. The second thing is that actually three things. The second thing is that it's kind of pre-ordered for you. I mean, you don't have to make too many decisions, right? So you need to decide what you want to do, and you may have to, make certain decisions in a way. But at the same time, there are a lot of things that are like there. There is a recipe. These are the ingredients. This is the temperature. This is the order. That helps. But third, that occurred to me is that you also have to be. Sometimes you have to be creative. Sometimes what you're doing is not necessarily what is in the recipe. Sometimes, you don't have some of that stuff. Can you replace it? Yeah, then suddenly something comes out. And sometimes you kind of, you can do whatever. Evening can be in the morning, you just get up and you say, okay, I want something like this. And then you mix and match and something good comes out, and you really feel it, because you...
you can smell it, you can touch it, you can eat it.
Yeah, totally. And you enjoy it, and somebody else enjoys it with you, and this is amazing. And that really helps you to kind of get back and feel good about yourself and people around you.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. So I want to talk to you about decision making. Like, how do you, like, are you worried that you're gonna just make a bad decision, particularly like about investing or not in a startup, or maybe like reflecting on your past experience, just like making decisions for some sort of, I don't know, technology, or whether or not hire a certain person, or...
Decisions. Well, I think inevitably not all of the decisions that one makes in their lives are going to be always the right ones.
Yeah, sure, for sure, yeah.
And then what you do about that can easily be very different, but you can carry on sort of chewing yourself for making or not making that particular decision, or you can simply accept that that is a decision that was taken, and therefore you need to live with the consequences or with the result of it, right? Or the lack thereof, right? It can go either way. Do I regret certain things that I have or haven't done? I'm pretty sure that I do, but I'm trying not to chew myself onto it, because I can't really undo it, right? Not anymore, at least. It's more about what do I do with what I have now, right? And can I, maybe I've made the wrong decision. If I were to redo it, I'd be in a different state. Do I like that state? Do I want to get there? If I do, okay, can I still get to that state or something similar to that from where I am right now? So something like this. Because everything else is very unproductive. Because time moves only in one direction, right? You cannot really rerun it. So what can you do? Some even say that there is neither past nor future exists, right? You only exist in the now. So do the best you can now, I'd say. Now, that is on sort of like the logical level. Yeah, emotionally, yeah, of course, I sometimes feel bad about something that I could have done that I haven't done. But I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying not to chew myself.
Yeah. So what keeps you driving? What keeps you going? Like, I guess that at this point of your career, you don't have to work, you choose to work, right? So
I think I have to work. Well, you see, I think the difference there between I think that I would put it in a slightly different way. For me, an example of how a person probably didn't have to but continued to work is my grandfather. He carried on working when he was already, I think, what was like 94, 95. Every day he would spend at least 3-4 hours at the university where he used to teach. He was no longer, obviously, he was not doing any classes or anything, but he would come there because he was formerly an advisor for the rector.
Was he a professor at the university?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, what did he teach?
Economics.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So he would come because he was still respected, and he always had something to share. And for him, continuing to be part of that was extremely important because he was seeing the value that he's bringing, and what is more important, I guess for him it was creating the feeling or sustaining the feeling that he still needed. That was up until COVID. During COVID, obviously, he couldn't. And I could see how, I wouldn't say like rapid deterioration, but you could see that he is sacking. And unfortunately, towards already the end of COVID, he needed to be hospitalized for something else. And unfortunately, in hospital, he contracted COVID. He was fighting for like almost a month, but ultimately, unfortunately, died.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. But
that was a really long life. He lived till 96.
He did, yes. He did. He actually crossed his 97th birthday already at the hospital. But point is that he probably didn't have to, but he still continued to, because he found that he is valuable and he was getting back that sort of feeling of appreciation from people. So I think for me, I don't think that I can not work. As in, I would still want to be doing something that would, and maybe going back to your question, if I were to stop working for like the fund or for, I don't know, some startup project or something else, there would be something that I would still invest myself into simply because there is no other way. Maybe I would kind of find myself in a strange position if I didn't. I cannot imagine myself not doing something. Yeah.
So do you enjoy this part when you like contribute to something and then something creates? Do you enjoy this part of creation?
Yeah, I do. I do love the feeling that you helped or you yourself have done something that is, is tangible and exists.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, I think I enjoy this part of creation too. Yeah.
What's If you were given the ability to do anything, absolutely anything, with your life and with your, I don't know, hand, mind, whatever, what would you create?
I think like I kind of like have the ability to do anything, but I might be not experienced enough yet just to know what is needed to be created. But if I weren't interested in maybe building some financial foundation for myself, I probably would just dance because I love dancing. This is my lifelong hobby. And when you dance and when you particularly freestyle, you create something in the moment, in the collaboration with the music and the moment and the people that are around you. So I would be just doing that. Yeah.
Well, that could, yeah, I mean, technically that could also provide the financial foundation.
Yes, it may, but at this point, I'm not really good enough to become a professional dancer, and I would need to invest just too much time into doing that. And probably that would be like, you would have to invest another, I don't know, 5 to 7 years, I think, to really reach kind of like a point when you can be a good dancer that can maybe teach their own class. But I don't see where you can go from that. Like you probably have to
owning a school.
Maybe school, or create your own shows.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Or both. I mean, you can create a shows and have a school where you.
Yeah, and actually, I really like what I'm doing right now. Just developing as an engineer and just building something, and that's really fun too. Yeah. So.
No, this is good. This is good. Feeling that you like what you're doing, and also having an idea that there is something that you could be doing if you were not doing that.
Yeah.
Is great, because I think it helps you to, you know, stay sane. So otherwise you're becoming dead set on only one thing, and this is not healthy.
Yeah, it does. And dancing is a really good hobby. You just get to switch off the work that you've done throughout the day, and you just dance and be in the moment, and just and it may be really grounding. So yeah, so it's recommended to everyone.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll consider.
Okay, thank you very much for coming here today and sharing your story and your experience. It was really fun talking to you. So I hope that we may do that again sometime.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe when you like finish some of your cycles and you get new insights that you're excited to share.
Okay, we can do it at that point of time, and maybe you will decide to start your own business, and we could talk about that, right?
Yeah, that would be really fun too. Yeah. So thank you very much. I hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation, and see you in the next video. Bye.